Welcome to the Great Salt Lake Rift Valley. This is the southern part of the Rift Valley called Utah Valley. And you can see Utah Lake in the distance, way out there. The reason that lake is there is because water coming out of this canyon here goes into this lake, and then it doesn't have anywhere else to go except for a river right over here. It connects Utah Lake with the Great Salt Lake, which is further to the north, and then it just stops. There's no outlet to the ocean. Why is that? Why do we have this large hole forming in Earth's crust right here? That not even water can escape. Sometimes when it's very, very wet, that lake there rises all the way up to right over here. You can see the lake terrace. This is the highest level that the lake out there got to, called Lake Bonneville. And that was about 18,000 years ago. Not very long in geologic time. In fact, you can see that that is such a young feature, this terrace right here, that it's been broken by the Wasatch Fault, which is the fault zone that makes up this mountain front. You can see way in the distance there Mount Nebo and Loafer Mountain, and right here Y Mountain, and each one of these has a fault plane that is inclined underneath the valley. And the valley right here actually drops like this at about the speed of sound every time there's a major earthquake. Well, there hasn't been a major earthquake along the Wasatch Fault for over 400 years. When you look at the history of the fault zone, it actually has an earthquake about every 320 years, so we're definitely overdue for that one. And since the last earthquake, look at all of the people that have moved right on top of the fault. I'm saying right on top of the fault because the fault is inclined right underneath all of that built environment there. And where it's locked is out there by the lake. So the epicenter is going to be out there. It's going to be the strongest ground shaking. And you'll tear the surface of the earth right here during the earthquake. You can see where the last few earthquakes have torn the surface. If you look right over here, you can follow the terrace, and then it steps down near where the road is. So that's one place where that terrace has been broken. And then you can follow the terrace again, and it steps down again between this house over here and the trees and the ones below it. And you can follow that over to where this park is. And now we're going to go down to that park so we can see that escarpment that was made by the last major earthquake, which was about 525 years ago. The reason we know that is because this lake actually spilled this way during that time. We've taken a boat out there. This is called the East Bay area. That bay didn't used to be there 525 years ago. Because every time the earthquake happens, the valley drops down like this. The eastern side drops down more than the western side does, and so the lake moved this way and made East Bay. We drilled some holes in the deposits there and found that it didn't used to be a lake 525 years ago. Also, there's a trench dug across the fault zone right down here in this creek. This is called Rock Creek. And the fault zone actually comes right through here. And where the stream has excavated a lot of it, but using some other excavation research, we were able to see that the last earthquake, that escarpment was formed about 500 years ago. So since that time, there's been at least 1 meter of stretching stretching that has occurred, and that is putting pressure on the fault zone. Not enough pressure to cause it to rupture. But up in Salt Lake City, north of the point of the mountain there, you can see another beautiful terrace, lake terrace, right over there. And the Salt Lake City segment hasn't had an earthquake since 1350 years. So it's been stretching a lot longer without any slip event. And when that slips, it will release enough energy to create a magnitude 7 to 7.3 earthquake. There's over 2.5 meters of stretching stored on the Salt Lake City segment. And so what will happen is the valley will drop like this. The whole valley in Salt Lake City will drop like this at near the speed of sound. And those shock waves will reverberate through this valley, and anything that's been built before 1980, watch out, might not stand up. Thousands of people could lose their lives if nothing is done to correct that problem.